The movie begins right after World War II. During this time, the Cold War between America and Russia is in full swing. To protect themselves from a possible American attack, Russia is running a series of secret experiments, trying to create real-life superheroes. These experiments aren't just limited to humans. They're also experimenting on animals, altering their DNA to give them superhuman powers. Each project is happening in different cities, known only to a few select scientists and participants. Their ultimate goal is to create superheroes. This was only possible if some of the experiments actually worked, giving certain people extraordinary abilities. The first superhero is someone whose DNA completely mutates, allowing him to transform into a powerful beast-like creature. The second hero has extreme speed and becomes an expert swordsman. The third can control natural elements, wind, earth, and water. The fourth superhero is a woman named Genia. She has the ability to make herself invisible. She can raise or lower her body temperature at will and even change her appearance underwater. These four are the most vital subjects of the project. The entire operation is led by a Russian professor. Meanwhile, in America, there's a scientist named Angst. Most of his experiments have already failed. After these failures, the US government shuts down his project completely. When Angst finds out that the Russians have successfully created real superheroes, he becomes furious, jealous, and obsessed. In his rage, he secretly starts his own illegal experiment somewhere far away, outside government control. In these hidden experiments, many innocent people become victims, not even knowing what's really being done to them. Angst's obsession grows so deep that eventually he experiments on himself. By this point, the military discovers his illegal activities and launches an attack on his secret lab. But Angst had already anticipated this. He had set time bombs all over the facility. When the explosions go off, most of the officers are killed instantly. Angst, however, survives, not because he was lucky, but because his experiment had changed him. The blast that should have killed him instead reveals his new monstrous form. His body had evolved to the point where he could generate electricity and control machines with his mind. But Angst's destruction doesn't stop there. He also blows up the main Russian lab where all the superheroes were being kept. Since these heroes were newly created and had no real combat experience, they're terrified and confused. Not knowing what else to do, they each go into hiding, trying to survive and stay out of sight. The next scene shows the military training its combat robots for missions. But suddenly, something goes wrong. The robots lose control, turn on their own side, and destroy military tanks and control centers. Many soldiers and officers are killed in the chaos. Only Angst survives once again. After this catastrophe, the Defense Department holds an emergency meeting. They decide that no matter where these superheroes are hiding, they must be found and brought back to help fight Angst. The mission is led by Major Elena, a determined and fearless officer. She orders her team to locate each superhero. The first one is found in a city where people are already suffering because of Angst's destruction. And when he learns that Angst has turned against the military, he agrees to join forces with them. The second hero is discovered in another country and also agrees to help. The third one is found deep in a forest, while the final superhero, Genia, has become famous and is now hosting a TV show until the mission reaches her too. Genia had also joined the mission, and now all four superheroes were finally united and ready. They decided that their first move would be to destroy Angst's laboratory. But when they got there, they realized the security was way tighter than expected. Angst's men were guarding the facility from every direction. Genia used her powers to turn invisible and began moving ahead quietly, but Angst and his men were already prepared for their arrival. The moment she got close, they launched an attack on her. Bullets started flying her way, and Genia panicked, freezing in place for a second. Meanwhile, two of the other heroes fought their way through, taking down many of Angst's guards. But from a distance, someone shot both of them with tranquilizer darts filled with sedatives, knocking them out instantly. The third hero, the one with control over natural elements, had a personal grudge against Angst. They hated each other deeply. This time, Angst himself came face to face with him. But it quickly became clear that Angst had grown far more powerful than before. He overpowered the hero easily and threw him aside like he was nothing. In the end, all three superheroes were captured. Angst stood before them and made an offer. He wanted them to join him and fight against the government. But every single one of them refused. Enraged, Angst locked three of them inside a containment chamber and activated a magnetic field that completely disabled their powers. The fourth hero was badly injured during the fight, leaving all the Russian superheroes trapped and helpless. With them out of the way, Angst began executing his next plan. He took control of the military's tanks and vehicles, sending them into crowded city streets. Chaos erupted as the tanks started destroying buildings and crushing everything in their path. Countless civilians were killed. After that, Angst brought down two massive towers and took command of several military helicopters as well. His goal was to gain full control over the global signal system through satellites. If he succeeded, every piece of technology, from missiles and choppers to advanced weapons, would be under his command. That meant the entire world would be at his mercy, and he could strike anywhere, anytime. Meanwhile, Major Alina managed to locate a few surviving superheroes and brought them back to her base. Once there, she realized these were newly developed heroes who still lacked proper training. She started thinking about how to prepare them for battle. She also discovered that Angst had once worked in a laboratory with an old colleague, a senior scientist who knew everything about his projects. Major Alina found this old man and told him that Angst had even created a duplicate of himself, something that needed to be understood if they were to uncover his weakness. While all this was happening, Angst reached the towers and stationed his robots across the nearby buildings. When soldiers tried to stop him, he wiped them out with ease, clearing his path completely. Then he used the tower to activate his program and took control of the last remaining main satellite. Back at the base, Major Alina began putting her superheroes through intense training, preparing them to fight again, stronger, smarter, and ready for the final battle. The team was trying to figure out how to take on Angst, how to fight him, how to defend themselves, and how to strike back. Each superhero was given a special suit designed according to their abilities, made to enhance and strengthen their powers even more. These suits were extremely advanced and durable. After completing their intense training, the team was finally fully prepared for the mission. Together, they arrived at the location where Angst's men were stationed and started fighting their way through. Eventually, they reached the building where Angst's main program was running. They made it all the way to the rooftop where a strong metal pipe was attached. Using that pipe for support, they began moving ahead carefully, but just then, Angst's men showed up and started firing at them. One of the superheroes used his powers to shield the others and tried to protect everyone. When things started getting out of control, another hero came flying through the air and attacked Angst's soldiers, knocking them off the building. Now all four superheroes managed to get inside the tower. Their goal was to shut down Angst's program completely. Genia stepped forward and tried to disable the system, but the energy surge was so strong that she couldn't handle it, and she passed out. Seeing this, another hero quickly ran in and pulled her away to safety. The power system shut down for a short while, but it didn't stay that way for long. Soon after, all four superheroes found themselves face to face with Angst on the rooftop. But Angst was far stronger than any of them. He was taking them down easily, as if they were completely powerless. Just when it looked like Angst was about to finish them off, one of their allies showed up. Using his abilities, he tied his friends together with a rope that was connected to a plane. But then they realized Angst had already taken control of that same plane and was about to destroy it. Acting fast, The superhero cut the rope, and all four of them fell straight into the water below. After a moment, they got back on their feet, ready to face Angst again. Around the same time, Major Alina also arrived at the scene, because Angst's old partner, the elderly scientist, had come forward. Major Alina hadn't been given any prior details about what was really going on. The old scientist explained that he had been conducting DNA tests on these four superheroes as well. He discovered that if all four of them combined their powers at once, they could generate an enormous amount of energy. And if that energy crossed its limit, it would explode in a massive blast, destroying Angst and his entire project for good. So the four superheroes joined forces and released a powerful energy wave together. The impact was so strong that when the blast went off, its energy spread across the entire world. The explosion completely wiped out Angst and his entire operation. Angst was killed in the process, and in the end, the Russian superheroes had saved the world from a massive threat. They all celebrated their victory with relief and happiness. With that final scene, the story and the movie comes to an end.